Boom. We are alive, bear family. Beautiful rainy day in the jungle. My waterfall came back like a storm. Um, anyways, one of the things I want to go over today, because for those of you that might be watching on a different day, it is April 28th, Wednesday, 2021. Timestamp and captain's log during the 2020 bull market, which started at the beginning of a pandemic. Now, one of the fun things here is we have a very stark moment in time that represented the fear and these kind of bursts of euphoria. Now, I'm going to make a bit of a longer conjecture just around Bitcoin's price this evening, and we'll stay focused just on that. So to start on that, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the stock to flow model. This is a great representation on this rather colorful way. I think in a lot of ways to simplify it, and then I've gone over this, the cost to mine Bitcoin and then the price that it costs to buy a Bitcoin on the open market. So here we have data dating all the way back down to 2011, which feels like forever ago. And each time after each halving, and it's almost into the halving, the price per Bitcoin starts to increase because of the available supply that's coming onto the market from each of the miners effectively. So this stock to flow model actually goes out way into the future too, until the end of the halving cycle. Now what's fun here is, if just for fun, we'll give you a little sneak peek. It's September 2nd, 2029, and Bitcoin's stock to flow model price is $14 million. Now I know this is the road to 100,000. We need to get one step at a time. Let's kind of take this step by step. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Back here in 2016, when Bitcoin was $400 to $600, and I was like, yeah, Bitcoin's going to 10 grand. People thought I was crazy. Now it seems very logical that Bitcoin's going to go to $100,000. Like everyone's like, yeah, laser eyes. No problem. Bitcoin's going to 100 grand. So let's kind of dive into this from, again, the stock to flow model and the technical side of things. So here we've zoomed in. We can see May, the halving from this particular cycle, and we've stayed just a little bit below that, and we've peeked our head and peeked out in Bitcoin's price once or twice. And in the stock to deflection model, we've seen this as well. So notice these two green points here, bang, bang, and then this last kind of third one here, bang, at around 61,000. If we look at the stock to flow deflection, we can see that here, bam, at a 40, and bam, 60, and then this last time here at around 61,000. There's just this kind of green angle. So we'll zoom in on just this area. So here we go. This is where you can see the peak out on the stock to flow model, and then the stock to flow deflection. So what the deflection is doing is showing us the cost per Bitcoin to mine effectively. So here we can see bang, bang, and then just at the very last moment hit that top peak. So I think the stock to flow deflection is a little bit easier way to look at it. Currently, Bitcoin is underpriced, right? Now, if we give ourselves a little bit more data and we ask, well, how much and how often has Bitcoin been underpriced? Quite frequently, Bitcoin has been underpriced on the stock to flow deflection model. At the max here of 2017, it was at 0.419. At the pandemic date of March 11th, it was at 0.5, 0.6 effectively. So this is actually the lowest in terms of Bitcoin's cost to production that it's gotten since around 2017. Kind of the freak out, the first kind of breakdown moment in 2017 when Bitcoin went from, 1,000 back to 1,200. I think that was that was March. Okay, it was this drop here. This August date is when Mr. Roger Ver made his Bcash scenario, and that was the kind of the lowest it had been right here. I even remember there were miners switching at this moment too. So this is probably why we have such a deep line here. There's a big miner discretion, and again here. But in the middle of this bull market, this is actually the most undervalued Bitcoin's been in a while. So I actually think we're going to get a test. So we're going to dive in and take a look at Bitcoin's price, where we're at from a technical level. Here, I actually think we're witnessing a rising gradient bottom. This looks like a spring to me. The supply signature that we've gone over, again, usually here's the shakeout, and somewhat equivalent, we see a spring here. So everything that looks nice so far. And again, this was kind of the deceiving moment here, is that this first secondary test after we ran up was quite shallow. So this was a nice kind of freak out moment to scare people. The fear to greed index was reset. And our road to $100,000 starts probably within the next week. So I would feel pretty comfortable with a nice test of 52,000. And then there's probably a pretty easy way to go, oh, look, it's a head and shoulders, which would bring us up to around maybe 67,000. We'd probably come back down, retest 59, build up here for like May, June, July, and then it would go just absolute mania into like 72,000. We would have a backup phase between 72 to 80, and this would bring us out to June, July. So let's go back to the stock to flow model and just kind of measure the date and time here, because I think we're going to get to around $100,000 Bitcoin by August. That's what I feel comfortable with. Oh yeah, look at YouTube go, hey? It's a wild one. Thanks for joining us all night. I just wanted to kind of give this as a sentiment. Hopefully everyone enjoys it. The internet here seems to have bucked out a little bit. So include a bit more data here, and it's actually saying May 9th, May 10th, Bitcoin could jump up. It should be priced at 100,000. I don't think that the big players are going to let it jump up there too quickly. I think they're going to try to let it stay in this range that we had just gone over here for quite some time, probably into June or July. So probably into June or July, we'll stay into like the 80. We'll probably try to stay below. You'll have the miners pretty much just accumulating day over day. And then I believe around June, July, August, June, July, August, we should see kind of our first break through the stock to flow model price. And we'll actually probably stay pretty relatively less volatile here. Like, okay, we have gone straight up, but we've gone straight up into stronger hands than we did in 2017. So I suspect that even though we'll stay at an undervalued Bitcoin price, it's being accumulated in extraordinarily large amounts. Like, I can't accumulate 7,000 Bitcoin in a day, but miners are right now. And they're holding because we have another like few years to go through before we hit the next halving and kind of massive price increase, right? So if we start to look out a little further in time, that would mean we're at $1 million Bitcoin by May 2025. So this whole area of 2021 to 2024, 2025 is going to be an accumulation range, most likely, right? So what we could write as a blow off top, maybe we go to like 120,000, 150,000. Let's be conservative here. Come back down and we just really build around this stock to flow area of around 100 grand. We just let the miners and the big players accumulate more, and we see how that functions. But generally, bigger players are not as interested in just jacking the price up and then slamming it back down. It's usually a bit more of a give and take type of methodology. So here, if we look at Grayscale kind of as an example, we can see Grayscale has actually been selling day over day. They have been selling their Bitcoin. So we'll use the bar chart and we'll zoom in just on this last week here. So, well, here's from March 10th of this year, and every day Grayscale has been decreasing their holdings by around, let's just say 100 Bitcoin to round it out. So they've been going down quite significantly, right? Every day, 100 Bitcoin into the open markets. Now, most of the Bitcoin that they're selling right now, they accumulated at around, let's say we went from 600,000. So they owned an extraordinarily high amount of Bitcoin, 600,000 Bitcoin, and then upped their holdings to 650,000 Bitcoin. So this area effectively represents 50,000 Bitcoin in growth in a single month. So here we can see back in back in November, they were on approximately 479,000, 500,000, 550,000 Bitcoin. This is a very high amount, 570,000 Bitcoin, 600,000 Bitcoin, and they all of a sudden jumped up to 650,000. And they have not accumulated any more since, right? So they're not buying more. They had a nice big chunk here in December, which was super smart. Bitcoin around $30,000. And every day since then, again, if we zoom in, we can see that they've actually been decreasing their holdings. And this is how you sell into the open market without massively moving the price, right? If Grayscale wanted to, they could absolutely destroy the price on the open market. Liquidity here right now would turn around at a heartbeat if they decided to sell like 50,000 Bitcoin. So they don't. They're smart about the way they play, and they reduce their holdings on a day-over-day basis. I'm sure Tesla did the same thing. They didn't just sell the $270 into the market all at once. They probably sold it little bit by bit so as not to disrupt the price, so the market could actually handle it, and they could get a better aggregates. And this is important to recognize for a few reasons, because even though we are maybe going to come down for a little bit of a test right now, remove some of my drawing here, maybe we test 52,000. I think that would be really nice. That'd be a nice, comfortable place to retest. Again, this is the longer journey into August of how we get to $100,000 Bitcoin. Anyways, that's that. I just wanted to leave it there. I just wanted to give you my updates on Bitcoin. It is our North Star and guiding light. So it's kind of just a simple thesis to help round out the rest of my idea. We'll probably be done this bull market. I'm going to go just ahead and say it now, like December. And that's probably from a thing that I'm less excited about, which is, well, you know, I don't want to, I'm not really, I don't like politics, and I'm not a virologist either. So neither of these topics do I like that much, but India is going through a pretty rough time right now. And for instance, here in Costa Rica, we hit like we have like maybe 25 to 30 ICU beds left in this country. So that's not normal, no matter how you slice it. Generally, fear and euphoria are a symbiotic type of relationship. We went from the beginning of the pandemic, we might be headed towards more fear here in the next 6 months. That may help indicate some of the downward trajectory as well that we see in the potential future, because whatever's happening in India is a big deal. And it's happening here in Costa Rica right now as well, where and again, I'm not a politics guy, I'm not a virologist, but I know if your healthcare system starts to break down, your general society is not that far from breaking down as well. It's almost like represents a part of the government, right? Like what happens if you break an arm? Can you go and can you get a bed at the hospital? Well, maybe not soon. And that's a big deal in any country. Yeah, sure. My doctor here, I don't actually need to go to a hospital. There's like local doctors and stuff, but just in general, especially more, what if you had say your appendicitis or something, right? Something where you'd have to go to a good hospital, not just like a doctor, your like regular pediatrician or something. Anyways, the point of this is it's a pretty big deal. Just the general infrastructure layer of human psychology, whether it is fear or euphoria. Yeah, I'm surprised there's only 103 people watching, but that's okay. It's because I talk about pandemics. So anyways, I think we're going to be running into more fear within the next few months in different parts around the world again. And that may come with a conclusion of the bull market cycle, at least for this next little while. And then we'll go into like somewhat of a normalcy of dealing with this again by 2022, whether that's a bull market and just the dealing with what it's like to travel with all these new restrictions, because the whole world is going to be continuing to go through this for a while. It looks like it does not look like it happens quickly. Anyways, whatever. I don't know anything. That's just how I'm seeing it. Bull market for sure, probably over by December. That's my bet. It's not financial advice. Do your own homework, your own due diligence. But I want to share that. Let's see. We'll take a look at a few of your guys' thoughts. How about Link? I'm not even going to look at anything else right now. I think it's important to... Bitcoin's always been kind of my guiding light. Link had been on a bull market by itself through Bitcoin's reaccumulation cycle. So we do know that other areas here are growing, but Bitcoin leads the cycle for sure. And Ethereum as well. Actually, both Bitcoin and Ethereum this year kind of led the cycle. So, I don't think if Bitcoin hadn't moved, that the rest of the market would be so well, and that's probably Link included too. Yeah, nice. Does it seem too extreme to hear $400,000 Bitcoin? These are usually, in my mind, signs that the bull market is near an end. We could go as high as $280,000, I think, on like just total nonsense. Because again, buying and selling becomes totally irrational. I just don't see the euphoria in that moment being capable, and we'd have to be pretty fucking euphoric for that to happen in this cycle. And with the larger interests, I just don't see them. They've been playing a lot longer generally. They usually don't, they're not too euphoric, and they're not usually too fearful either. They like are kind of median. So it's less likely that we have a mass amount of volatility in comparison. Like, I still think we'll drop significantly once we peak out. You know, if we drop from 150 back to 60,000 or something, that's a pretty big fucking deal. That's like 70%. So I still think we see a lot of volatility, but in retrospect, it'll feel like much less, and the floor will hold much stronger. After you make an investment, how do you decide where to take your profits? Yeah, that's generally, if you listen to me frequently, you'll know that I don't think taking profits is a smart idea. Generally, what you want to do is get to a point where you don't look to your portfolio for the money you need in life, right? You can reallocate, like, let's say, your personal treasury, but generally your portfolio should be things that you don't sell, because the value of them is bigger than the price, right? But that's a hard thing to explain to someone who's trying to grow their portfolio. Generally, you can actually create a lot more wealth by being consistent and investing in things when they are undervalued, not so much selling them when they're overvalued. Now, again, that's, whatever. Do your own homework, but 100 Baggers and Dan Dow, I think, clearly explains why you would want to just accumulate. And then when you see down moments, buy a fuck ton more. Alex says music tonight. Yeah. I kind of wrote a new little riff on the guitar I could show you guys. I wrote this cool little groove. It's probably still in tune, although the jungle changes things pretty quickly. Yeah, see, the A's a little bit out of tune. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but that's a little out of tune. The tuning song. It's like the song that never ends. Always have to tune. Tune down the knob. There you go. Okay, music for those of you who asked. And we'll put this back. Yeah, that should sound a little better now. anyways, there you go. It's a little groove I wrote last night. Thanks. Lots of fun, guys. Yeah, patience. I think that's the best way to play this game. I see a question about how do I store my coins. More than hardware wallets, if you're getting into cold storage, I think seed phrases are more important than the wallet itself. But that's that particular thought there. Simple as that. But I have treasures and ledgers. I like the ledger. It's probably my favorite. But again, your seed phrases are the most important there. See you guys in the next episode. Thanks for joining us this evening. Just a quick little update on Bitcoin only. We'll probably see a little bit of volatility in the markets in the next day or two. And then, boom. Long story short, though, we're going to $100,000 Bitcoin. Just stick around for the ride.